Hey there. So you know Python, but the idea of building a whole, full-scale web application, well, it can feel like a pretty big leap, right? If that sounds familiar, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're jumping into Django, the framework that lets you build incredibly powerful websites and do it fast. I mean, if you're an aspiring developer, this question has got to be on your mind. How do you actually take those Python skills you have and spin them into a real, secure, scalable website without just getting completely lost in the weeds? Well, for millions of developers out there, the answer is Django. It's this high-level Python web framework that's built for speed and clean, practical design. And its whole philosophy, its core idea, is that it's batteries included. And that's not just a cute phrase. It means it comes packed with almost everything you need right out of the box. So here's our game plan for this explainer. We'll start with what Django is, then we'll pop the hood and see how it works with its MVT architecture. After that, we'll cover its absolute standout features, see what the day-to-day workflow actually looks like for a developer, and then get you pointed in the right direction for your next step. Okay, let's dive right in. Where in the world did this powerhouse of a framework even come from? At its heart, Django is a free and open source framework, written completely in Python. But what does that really mean for you? It means its #1 goal is to get rid of all the tedious, repetitive parts of building a website so you can focus on writing the code that makes your app unique and do it way, way faster. The story actually starts back in 2003. A couple of developers, Adrian Holavati and Simon Wilson, were working at a newspaper and needed a better way to manage their website's content. So they built this tool. They decided to release it to the public in 2005, and it just took off. By 2008, the community was so big they had to create the Django Software Foundation just to manage the project and support everyone. And here's a little piece of trivia for you. Where'd the name come from? It has absolutely nothing to do with programming. It's named after the legendary jazz guitarist Django Reinhardt. He was a favorite of one of the creators. A little bit of art and soul behind all that tech. All right, so we know what it is and where it came from. Now let's look under the hood at its architecture. This is the real core of how Django works, and it's what makes the framework so incredibly organized and powerful. Now, you might have heard of a design pattern called MVC, which stands for Model View Controller. A lot of frameworks use it. Django uses its own little twist on this called MVT, Model View and Template. It's a subtle difference, but it's an important one. Let's break down what each of those parts does. First up is the model. The best way to think of the model is as the blueprint for your data. It defines the structure of your database, what information you're storing, and how it's organized. And it talks to the database using something called an object relational mapper, or ORM. Basically, the ORM is like a translator. It lets you use simple Python code to manage your data instead of having to write complicated SQL. It's a huge time saver. Next, we've got the view. The view is really the brains of the whole operation. In Django, a view is basically a Python function. Its job is to take a web request from a user, handle all the business logic, all the thinking, and then send back a web response. It's the central command center. And finally, there's the template. This is the face of your application. It's what the user actually sees and clicks on. This is your presentation layer, your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript that controls how everything is displayed. So let's see how it all works together. A user clicks a link, which sends a request to a URL. Django routes that request to the correct view. If the view needs to get some data, like a list of products, it asks the model. The model grabs that data from the database and gives it back to the view. The view then passes that data to the appropriate template, which renders the final HTML page. And that finished page gets sent right back to the user's browser. It's just a clean, logical flow. So now that we understand how it works, let's talk about why so many developers choose Django. It really comes down to a set of features that feel like developer superpowers. It really boils down to 5 big things. You can develop super fast. It is rock-solid secure. It scales beautifully to handle tons of traffic. It's incredibly versatile for just about any project. And its components, its apps, are reusable. These aren't just buzzwords, they make a real, tangible difference. Rapid development is probably Django's biggest claim to fame. That batteries included idea we keep mentioning, it means you get things like a powerful ORM, a fully automatic admin interface, user authentication, and so much more. You're not starting from scratch, you're starting with a massive toolkit ready to go, which lets you build things unbelievably fast. And this one is so important. Security.
Django takes security very, very seriously. It has built-in protection against a lot of the most common and nasty web threats like SQL injection and cross-site scripting. It essentially helps developers avoid making common security mistakes by default, which is huge.
Okay, we've covered the what and the why, so let's get practical. Let's look at what the actual workflow is like for a developer who's building a Django project.
The whole process is really structured and logical. You start by creating a project, which is the main container for your entire site. Then, inside that project, you create one or more apps. These are like modular building blocks for different features, like a blog app or a user profile app. From there, you just follow the MVT pattern we talked about. Define your data and models, write your logic in views, connect your URLs to those views, and finally, build the HTML templates for the user to see.
And, once you've built a little something, seeing it come to life is as easy as typing this one command, Python manage.py run server. That's it. It fires up a little development server right on your computer, letting you test your work instantly. That immediate feedback makes the whole process feel so tangible and honestly, pretty rewarding. So, we've looked at Django's history, its architecture, its features. After all that, what are the key things you should really remember? Here are the big takeaways. First, Django's MVT architecture gives you a super organized structure for your code. Second, its batteries included philosophy is going to save you countless hours of work. Third, it's built from the ground up to be secure and to scale for real-world applications with lots of users. And finally, its workflow is so clear it guides you logically from a simple idea to a fully functioning application. At the end of the day, Django provides the framework, the speed, and the security. The only missing ingredient is your idea. So the real question isn't just how to build a web app with Python anymore. It's what will you build?